What's good, beautiful people? The Black Thumb here, and today we're going to talk about what to expect after repotting your orchid. So let's get into it. So after repotting your orchid, and in particular your Phalaenopsis orchids, there are a few signs that make you feel better about the repotting, and then there are a few signs that make you say, is my orchid okay? So the purpose of this video is to go through what to expect so that you aren't too stressed about the transition of your orchid from its old home to its new home. So this orchid is an orchid that was gifted to me by my friend Randy from the Black Orchid Project. And I repotted this orchid a few weeks ago and did an entire tutorial called The Ultimate Guide to Phalaenopsis orchid repotting. So you can always check that video out first, and then you can come back to this. And in that video, I talked a little bit about the possibility of experiencing diminished growth or things that don't quite feel right when you are transitioning your Phalaenopsis orchid from one pot to another. And so we're going to go through those right now. And so the things that are happening with your orchid that give you a sense of relief, like, oh, okay, it is successfully transitioning into its new home, those things are things like new leaf growth. And as you can see here, we've got a new baby leaf starting to grow. And so that is one sign that the orchid is transitioning appropriately into its new home. The other sign is new root growth. And as you can see here, we've got a new little baby root growing there. So again, these are good indicators that this orchid is transitioning appropriately into its home. I've been watering this orchid once a week since I repotted it about 3 weeks ago. And so this is the amount of new growth that I've gotten in that time. And so those are the signs that make you feel good about, okay, I repotted it successfully. So let's talk a little bit about some of the signs that may make you think a little bit differently or may give you a little bit more stress and anxiety about how the orchid is transitioning into its home. And my hope is that you feel a little bit better about these signs and symptoms after we finish with this video and after you finish watching this video. And so one of the things that you might experience as an orchid is transitioning into its new home is diminished leaf growth or slower leaf growth, which is what we're kind of experiencing here at the center, but we're happy that we actually have new growth. The other thing is you might see or find that the leaves feel a little bit more flimsy. And in this situation, you can tell these leaves are pretty flimsy. Pretty much all of the leaves that were there prior to the repotting are showing signs of like wilting or just feeling a little bit flimsy and leathery, right? This is normal because again, we are transitioning. This orchid is still settling into this pot. So my hope is that over the next handful of weeks, as I'm consistent with my care and with my watering, that these leaves will start to firm up and we'll start to see even more elevated growth from the new growth that we're experiencing so far. The other thing that you might experience is some of the roots dying off or dying back. And so in this situation, this root here, it is starting to show some signs that it is hollowing out and it's becoming a little bit more squishy. And again, we are transitioning this orchid into a new home, into a new environment. I imagine this pot is potentially a very different pot than the pot that it was in prior to it being shipped across the country and then being repotted in this pot. So again, these things are normal. You are likely to see some yellowing of the leaves as it feels like this leaf here might start to do. You might see that some of the roots are dying off or dying back, and that is okay. That is, again, an indicator that your orchid is just still going through the transitioning phase of settling into its new pot. But as long as you are getting good indicators of new growth in the form of new leaf growth and new root growth, then you are still winning. So continue to be consistent with your care, with your watering schedules, and with the amount of sunlight and all of the things that your orchid needs. Make sure you find a nice happy spot for it in your home and watch the growth keep happening. So that is what to expect after your orchid has been repotted. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If this video has been helpful to you in any way, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. Go out and like, share, comment, and follow. Yeah, as always, I hope that helps and your orchids keep blooming.